and welcome to UnNewsual. It's a brand new podcast where we focus on the weird and bizarre stories we've found in the news this week. And I have two amazing co-hosts with me.
Hi, I'm Jasmine.
Hi, and I'm Patrick.
So we're going to get started by focusing on some of the bizarre stories that we have found this week. I'm going to pass it over to Jasmine. You've found some absolutely batshit crazy ones.
Yeah, the first one I have is from the Mirror, and the headline is "Wedding Guest Mocks Bride's Pathetic Catering, Including Piles of Plastic Cheese."
Nice.
So the basis of it was just
she served plastic cheese at a wedding.
She served plastic cheese at a wedding, which it's not great, is it?
I don't know. Has anyone been to any weddings where they've had just absolutely disastrous food? Or has the food always been pretty good?
I mean, I've been lucky with what I've had
I
at
think
weddings.
it's usually got a certain standard about it, hasn't it, food? At weddings, I think, the caterers they use and what have you. But I've never, ever had plastic cheese. I don't eat cheese anyway. I can't eat cheese. So
can you not?
even if it's got... I'm more likely to eat plastic, to be honest with you. I really am.
This will be perfect for you then.
Oh, there we go. I won't even taste it. So.
Patrick's going to be queuing up at that wedding now.
Definitely.
So, I don't know. I've never had a bad experience at weddings. Always been finger food. Always.
Yeah, I've had quite a lot of finger food. But this, they said it was like having a 3-year-old's birthday party buffet. So
with the
don't think
cheese,
you want that at a wedding.
with the cheese and pineapple sticks on cue.
Yeah. I'll have the pineapple. There we go. Well, we've established
Pineapple's
that.
great.
So, Kirsty, when it comes to covering stories, if you were handed this one and you were told, report on plastic cheese at a wedding, what would you say?
Well, for a start, I wonder why on earth they thought giving somebody plastic cheese was a good idea. I mean, do they know a lot of people who eat plastic? God knows, but it would be quite interesting to find out, I suppose.
Yeah, I thought so. Actually, thinking about it, I don't understand. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of the catering at Fire Festival.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was like.
And
when I read it, I was like, that just sounds like Fire Festival to me. It sounds like a Fire Festival but at a wedding.
Fire wedding.
Yeah,
there we go.
Pretty much.
We've started a new trend now. Fire wedding.
You can have fire weddings, though. If you've been to a Hindu wedding where they actually walk around a fire.
Yeah, they do have fire.
They walk round a fire.
They walk around
That's
a fire.
part of the ceremony.
4 times they have to walk around it, they do. So.
Well, I guess, it brings a new meaning to the word fire wedding.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you've got another story now.
I do. Hold on. This one really made me laugh. I found it on Twitter. It was a moment, but I found the actual news story, again from the Mirror. Woman praises lipstick that stays perfect in a car crash after leaving just a smudge on an airbag.
I saw this, actually.
Yeah, this was just a woman who was in a car crash. Thankfully, she's okay. I've checked it out. But her blue Mini was
absolutely
wrecked.
totaled, wasn't it?
It was quite bad. But she tweeted about the product she was wearing, which was a Jeffree Star lipstick, and she said it was pretty much perfect, even after the car crash, which is
she
cool.
was she looked okay, actually.
Yeah, she seemed okay.
Her lipstick and makeup were on point, but when it came to her actual, no broken bones, she was absolutely fine.
Yeah, she was fine. Thank
but
God.
her Jeffree Star lipstick stayed completely intact. Has anyone used lipstick from Jeffree before?
I haven't, but I've heard, and now it's been proven that it's pretty good. So, might have to check it out.
The thing is, I feel like what I saw from this was Jeffree Star afterwards decided to donate her one of his new palettes, Blue Blood.
Oh yeah, he did, didn't he?
And because obviously, if you can prove that lipstick survives in a car crash, I guess you kind of deserve a free palette. But now I'm just worried about the amount of people that are going to get into car crashes, because let's face it,
a bit worrying.
the story was American, and Americans will do anything for free stuff.
They will.
So I'm thinking that actually the amount of car crashes that are going to be caused just to prove to Jeffree Star that they deserve a Blue Blood palette
might get a little bit dangerous.
It is going to get too much. Kirsty, have you ever used any of Jeffree Star's lipsticks?
No, I haven't, but lipstick that can survive a car crash is probably a high priority for me, because I need something that stays on. But if it stays on during a car crash, how hard is it going to be to get off? Like, what kind of makeup remover are you going to have to use?
Yeah, you might have to buy some kind of really strong makeup remover for it.
Yeah, so I think that one's always really, really... It is a bit bizarre.
It
but
is
then,
quite bizarre.
But then, fair play, she got a free pallet out of it.
True.
Your car might be ruined. You might
Swings
not
and
be able to pay your insurance. You might be a bit broke for a while, but, free Jeffree Star pallet.
Well, I mean, it's branded, so one day it could end off climbing up in value and be worth the car that she crashed.
Exactly, yeah.
True. So we're going to move on. Patrick, you've had some stories from the past week.
Oh, have I just? Yeah, I saw this one here. I'm just seeing how recent it is, but it's from America, of course, isn't it? Yeah, only in America, as they say. A thing called Blasting News. Anyone heard of that? Blasting News?
I have had a look at a couple of stories on there, yeah.
Yeah, I think this one, it says here 5 weird stories that hit the headlines this week. And number one, well, perhaps not surprisingly, it says, intruder licks family's doorbell for 3 hours. Do you want me to say that again? doesn't sound any better the next time I say it. Intruder licks family's doorbell for 3 hours.
It just gets weirder the more you say it.
Yeah, it says in Salinas, I believe it's called Salinas, in California. A Salinas, California family had installed a new security system, and the first incident caught, well, you might as well do it, start off in style, was a man licking their doorbell for at least 3 hours. I mean, it could have been, maybe nearer to 4 on a Monday night. They were away at the time, and he was also found roaming around their yards and picking up an extension cord. And he dropped it and then urinated on their lawn. I mean,
wonderful.
Lovely, classy, yeah.
Did they provide any context as to why he was licking the doorbell?
No, but I mean, what perhaps is less of a surprise, they said the person was shocked when they watched the video. I mean, really? What? They were shocked by that? I thought that was quite conventional, really. But I don't know if there's any motive given for licking someone's doorbell.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Pretty much.
Or relieving yourself in someone else. I mean, why would you be relieving yourself as well after? Because surely you'd have used up a lot of his saliva, so be less likely to possibly go to the toilet, maybe?
I don't know how.
I'm analysing it far too much.
It's just a weird story overall, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of any rhyme or reason as to why or how or... No.
I feel like drunkenness probably has a lot to say to this.
But at least
he's like a drunk or on drugs, right?
I'm guessing, but at least justice might be done, because he said he's likely to face misdemeanor charges. Really?
Oh, wow. I mean, he might get let off, but it is America, so what probably happened is straight away, as soon as they found him on his property, he was shot.
That's a good point.
And he's probably not survived, so don't go round licking people's doorbells, guys.
That's the moral of this.
What I'm thinking is, you're talking about the sort of like the stereotypical punishment, so, across the pond. In this country, though, usually it's like, community service or a slap on the wrist. What sort of community service would you get having licked someone's doorbell for more than 3 hours?
Got to disinfect people's doorbells
without not using your tongue, though,
80 days.
obviously. So right,
yeah, okay. literally just doorbell cleaning. That's all you could do for customer service,
community service.
Do you get to test them after and go ding dong, ding dong, ding dong to make sure they're all functioning properly?
Yeah, and that's the thing. That would be
preferably
a public nuisance in itself. So they'd have to go back and do community service to stop them from ringing people's doorbells.
What I find strange, though, is the fact that they've waited till they had the new security system in before they've done it. So what were they doing? Watching the house and like, oh, that's a nice doorbell. Oh, have some of that.
Presumably it's one of those doorbells that you can like see what's happening, right?
Yeah.
So they've waited till they've installed that so that the people can see them doing it.
Maybe he
so
just
do they
wanted,
get a thrill out of that? Or?
He just wanted a really nice video of his tongue on the camera lens.
I reckon what happened was, while he saw them installing it, I reckon it was probably about a couple of years ago, probably about the same time when the Chainsmokers and Coldplay had that song out called I Want Something Just Like This. And he's thinking, I feel exactly that same way about that doorbell over there.
So, I'm going to move on to some stories that I've found now. This one's about a postman. It was actually on the Daily Record, which it looks exactly like the Mirror's website, so I'm guessing they're owned by the Mirror. And this one, a little bit strange. A postman has died for 21 minutes but came back to life while being wheeled to the morgue.
Oh, God.
That's kind of terrifying.
Who decided, yep, he's dead, he's definitely dead? Doctors are apparently baffled, as I think most people are, and it's apparently not the first time he's managed to dramatically cheat death.
It's not the first time.
Yeah, which is where I'm going.
Okay.
What a lucky guy.
That's just... I don't really know what to say.
It's either luck or we found the first immortal, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
If you've definitely got 9 lives.
Yeah.
100%. Or maybe just 2. Maybe after this time. The next time he tries
Maybe
to cheat
his
death.
luck's run out.
Yeah, it's not happening for him. But, yeah, bit of a weird one.
Really... Imagine being the person that's wheeling him to the morgue and he wakes up. Like,
yeah.
What do you say to that? That's just
like, oh, didn't realise you were breathing.
Oh.
We'll just get you out of here. We'll just wheel you on.
Did they at any point actually contemplate the idea of ringing the emergency services and thinking, do you know what? He might actually still be around after all. We could possibly do with your help.
Yeah, I think he'll go straight to science and tell people what it was like to be dead.
Yeah.
I think that would be interesting. I'd like to know what it's like.
Because he was dead for 20 minutes.
That's a long time to be dead.
Yeah.
That's definitely a really,
and to
really
come
long time
back
to be dead.
that is quite a while.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
He was dead for... Right, I'm slightly confused on that.
Yeah, but wouldn't he have...
He was dead for 20 minutes.
He was dead for... Right, sorry, I thought you said... Right, okay, I thought you said they were wheeling him off and then he then... Oh, well, not the other. Even I'm confused now. Goodness me.
Would he not have like brain damage from being like oxygen starved?
Maybe.
See, this is where the
did they
science
mention
just doesn't add up.
It just doesn't,
Anything
does it?
about
So
that?
unless like one of the doctors is like some sort of secret murderer who just decided that he's going down to the morgue now
Yeah,
to get buried alive.
so he had a cardiac arrest and he was dead for 21 minutes. They've dubbed him now the Miracle Man because obviously all these mean feats are solved by God.
If he does it again, it's a conspiracy.
It is a conspiracy.
If he does it again, he's definitely immortal.
Definitely.
But apparently he managed to escape death the first time because he was in a devastating car crash that left him with 90% blood loss. How do you survive
90%?
that? How on earth do you survive that?
Is he just invincible? Is that what it is, do you think?
I think he's now to quote Nintendo here because I'm a bit of a Nintendo nerd, but he's got one of those invincibility stars, and he's just like roaming around, absolutely mashed off it, seeing how much he can do, how many things he can run into, how many times he can die before it actually wears out.
Probably.
But no, he's back and he's doing his post round.
Oh, he's back and
he's back doing his work.
Okay.
And
definitely immortal.
yeah, apparently all of these accidents that he's had have happened in cars, so maybe he should get the bus.
That's a good point.
What car
should.
is it the same car every time as well?
I have no idea. It doesn't
I
specify
think
in
he
the
should
article.
stay away from cars.
Because he
Yeah.
could really... I'll tell you what, whichever car, if he's using the same sort of car, seriously, is the goal not gaping for them for like a good bit of advertising maybe to have him as the face of their company?
The hospital should just be like, we helped this guy survive death.
We brought him back from the dead.
So apparently the doctor, who's Dr. Mark Peterson, the chief of the cardiology unit at the hospital they worked at, told them that if a person is dead for longer than 4 minutes, then there would be permanent damage to the brain. But he has no damage whatsoever.
Definitely a miracle man. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely immortal.
Yes.
100%. So now we're going to go on to our Florida Man stories. And I don't know whether you guys have seen these online, but the Florida Man story is where you type in the words Florida Man and your birthday. Because apparently there's so many crimes that happen in Florida that you can get one for every day of the year. And it will come up with something weirdly bizarre that a Florida man has done during his time in Florida. During his time in Florida. So we're going to start off with Jasmine.
Okay, right.
Do you have your Florida man story?
I do. So my birthday is the 11th of Feb. So I typed that in with Florida man. And the result was interesting. I got Florida man recorded having sex with his dog. So
wonderful. Bit of bestiality on a Friday afternoon.
It's
exactly what we wanted. What are the details? Do we want to know the details? Is the real question.
Probably not.
I don't think you want to. They say that he was charged with aggravated animal cruelty, obviously.
Yeah.
Because, that's not... It was just a really weird result.
Yeah, I can't believe... So, on your birthday, somebody was having sex with a dog?
Yeah, he dressed up in a dog costume as well.
What?
To make matters worse.
I mean, I'd say you do you, but, that dog technically did not consent, so that's a bit much, mate.
It was a lot.
Yeah. Patrick, what was your Florida man story?
I couldn't find my birthday. I was trying to type it in, but I couldn't seem to find anything. But I did see some very interesting story. I think it must be one that's happened in the last couple of weeks. Could share that with you if you want.
Yeah.
Great.
Yep. The thing's just failed in front of me now. Oh, goodness me. Here we are. No. I've got it here now.
Found it.
Okay, it looks like it's dated 3rd of April, so obviously it had been, just over a week ago. It says here, Florida man, it says thong-wearing Florida man found in man's backyard building a shed and throwing chairs. Yeah, it says he was sporting a thong and was arrested after trespassing on a man's property and attempting to make some sort of shed in his backyard. He stated an artist that makes things from garbage and refused to identify himself to the police.
Of course.
But he has been identified on Florida Man.
Oh, nice. So he has been been identified. So if anybody was born on the 3rd of April, you can claim that one for yourself.
Yeah. Are all these men sort of having...
Are they all the same man?
Yeah, they must be either
the doorbell licker.
The same man.
It fascinates me how often people in America trespass on each other's homes, considering how many
guns they have.
Yeah.
Unless they're just
they
immune
just
to
have
it
no
now,
fear.
So.
Yeah.
Well, maybe everyone over there who does these things is like that bloke who keeps having those accidents in his car. Maybe he's just invincible, so it doesn't matter if someone has got,
I just think they're all the same guy.
Yeah.
I think
There's
it
just
must
one
be.
guy
Well, they're all
in Florida
having midlife crises.
that's just seeing how many crimes he can commit in 1 year. And it's just happened to be
He's just doing one every day.
Well, I found a Florida man story myself, and it was a 71-year-old Florida man tied a gun to a weather balloon to fake his own murder. It didn't go down very well, obviously, otherwise we would not be reporting on it and we'd still think he was dead. But, bit of a bizarre one. He tied a gun to a weather balloon to make out that somebody had assassinated him.
I mean, that is a mean feat.
I know.
Tying it to a weather balloon.
I mean,
how did he think it was going to go off if there was no one to trigger it or anything?
Well, exactly. That's my thought. And I mean, if he wanted somebody to kill him, like without being I don't know what's the word. Why didn't he just do it himself?
Yeah. Surely you just.
I know. I mean, that's
wow.
But if he wanted to, maybe he was getting away from somebody.
Just trespassing somebody's house, man.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we found the solution. Just trespass somebody's house.
Just go lick someone's doorbell.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Maybe he just got caught for licking someone's doorbell.
Yeah, maybe
and
he
now
was
he's
running
like,
away from the police.
Maybe not.
Do you think this person is like this Florida man, whoever it is? Do you reckon it's a bit like, for very different reasons, I must stress, a bit like sort of Banksy, where no one's ever seen this person? They are actually
just an opposite Banksy, like
the absolute polar opposite, of course. But they're out there somewhere, but no one ever actually sees them.
Mm-hmm.
They
just go.
But they clearly exist, but no one actually knows who they are.
No one knows their identity.
Yeah. But the same sort of principle behind it, but for very, very, very different reasons.
That's it.
Do you think that's
Florida
what it
man is Banksy.
Florida man's the new Banksy.
Only you, Patrick, could come up with the fact that Florida man is actually Banksy. So thank you so much for going through your Florida man stories. I'm definitely going to be loving listening to this back, having a right old chuckle to myself. But we're now going to go into chatting with our guest. She's a journalist who has done many, many placements in many different places. I think the most one you mentioned to me earlier was the Sunderland Echo.
Yes, it was.
And I'd just like to give a round of applause to our resident journalist, Kirsty Card.
Thank you.
So we spoke earlier. You told me you didn't have any weird stories.
Yes, but I've been thinking about it. It's not stuff that I've worked on. It's stuff that's happened around me in the newsroom. So if you're still interested,
Oh yeah, 100%.
Because I mentioned the Sunderland Echo, we'll jump straight in with that. Normally, in Sunderland, the news is quite depressing as much as what's because the standard news week in Sunderland tends to be somebody got raped in the park and somebody's jumped off the bridge, and that's literally every week. There's always someone. And then there was one week I was there on placement and the train station was closed because some guy decided to take a shit on the platform.
Of course.
Well, what a bummer.
As you do. So the train station was closed for about 3-4 hours while the lovely staff at the train station had to clean it up. So that's the most bizarre one that's happened to me, I think. And I was just sat in the newsroom like crying with laughing at the person who was sat next to me having to write this.
It's just like you don't want to get a mental image, but you do get a mental image of somebody squatting over the yellow line, just going, how can I ruin people's commute today?
Honestly, God knows what goes through people's heads, but I mean, people are pretty weird up north, to be honest. And I say that as a northern person, so I know what it's like.
I'm just wondering, like, could it be that a Florida man has taken a plane?
You know,
Florida man's coming to the UK.
Probably.
His first stop is Sunderland.
To ruin everyone's commute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ruin everyone's
day. Why not? You know, what else is there better to do in Sunderland?
What platform was it on? Does anyone know?
I'm
Platform 2?
It must have been platform 2. I was waiting.
I'm not sure. We'll have to find out.
Oh gosh. Oh, I mean, I feel sorry for everybody that had to commute that day.
Yeah.
I mean, a 3 to 4 hour delay, that's normally for something pretty serious.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I mean, yeah, I hope people managed to get to work on time.
I don't think they did if it was a 3-4 hour delay.
What I'm thinking of is, like, were there no toilets at the train station?
I actually, to be honest, don't think there is. Because Sunderland Station's quite small, so I actually don't think there is toilets there.
Do you think
maybe he was making a statement?
Yeah, maybe. Like, please install your toilets.
These not just shit on the platform.
These trains are shit.
They are. All trains are everywhere.
That is very, very true. So, Patrick, what were you going to say?
No, you've taken pretty much what I was going to say there as well. But I think, you know, the other thing I was going to say is, where was he going to?
God knows.
Where do you think where was this train bound for? Is there some statement behind that, maybe?
Well, he didn't shit on the train, did he?
He shit on the
platform.
He did shit on the platform, but it might have been anticipation, as opposed to constipation, clearly, that it was going to a destination that he didn't like for some reason. Maybe there's some sort of protest, a dirty
maybe we'll
protest.
Never know his motive.
He's definitely not going to like the back of the police car either. So.
No, he's not really. No, or his own indignation, hopefully. So.
I mean, I guess that's the perfect way to end the podcast. Really, I am going to ask you more about. That was our final weird news story, but I do want to ask you about your experiences as a journalist to finish off. And so you were telling us about something called a death knock, where in news, if somebody has unfortunately passed away, and normally these are quite serious, they're not bizarre or weird of sorts, but you actually had to do one of those, didn't you?
Yes, I did, yeah.
So how was that experience?
It was honestly one of the most nerve-wracking experiences I've ever had on a work placement, to be honest. It was one of my weeks at Sunderland Echo, because I've been there a few times, and I was just sat working on writing up copy of a press release that had been emailed to me that day. And the editor just looks across the room and goes, "We're going to have to go out on this knock. So can you take Kirsty with you?" And I just sort of looked at him like, "Please don't make me do this." And then I ended up having to go. So we got into the car, we drove up to Ryop, and this poor girl had been found hung from a tree on that morning. So we had to go and speak to the neighbours and the family, and the neighbours were like, "We don't want to speak to you because we don't know what the family are going to say," and the family were just like, "Can you please leave us alone?" And basically just told us to fuck off. So it was awful. Like, I always feel guilty when I have to do stuff like that. But I was warned from the beginning of studying journalism that was probably going to be something that I would have to do. And it tends to be like, normally you get cases where it's like suicide or an accident where the family will speak to you, and especially if it's been something like drink driving or something like that. They will speak to you to sort of raise awareness of the type of situation, but sometimes it's too soon. But what one of the lecturers used to say to me, Ross Hawkes, was like, if the tears aren't still wet, it's not news anymore, which is really a really harsh thing to say.
A little bit harsh,
Yeah,
but it is the truth of the matter,
you have
isn't
to
it?
get. The thing is, with how fast-paced newsrooms work, is you have to be the first person there. You have to be the first one with the family's photos. Otherwise,
it's a non-story.
It's not worth like reporting on it, is it?
Like, he told me that if you go and you ask for photos, if they get a photo album out, you take the whole photo album rather than just the best picture, because that way the journalists behind you can't get the pictures.
That's
bizarre.
actually
but it's how newsrooms work, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's all very dog eat dog, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Can't really get around that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming in, chatting about your
welcome.
journalistic experiences and your bizarre news story. And thank you so much, my hosts, Patrick and
Pleasure.
Jasmine.
Pleasure.
Interesting stories today, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
And we're going to catch you again next month with our next episode of UnNewsual. Thank you all for listening.